Protecting ourselves during dating and in relationships is so important because that's a way that a lot of us lose ourselves. Now, I've had my experiences and there's so many things that I wish I would have known then so that I didn't waste so much of my time with the wrong people and also not prioritizing what I want and need in those situations. What's up, babes? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Maya if this is your very first time here. Today we are doing a solo date vlog, baby. It's been a while. We're just gonna have some girl chat and talk about some very necessary topics while we pull ourselves together, do our makeup, do our hair, get dressed, and then take ourselves out on a little date. So let's go ahead and head to my studio, beauty room, whatever you want to call her. Let's light a candle and let's get started. All right, y'all, if you are familiar with my solo date vlog series, I'll make sure I tag the whole series for you guys. But this series is all about self-love, self-care, and self-improvement as a woman, right? So that you can be your best self, level up, just so we can live better lives and, you know, better benefit those around us and ourselves, right? I felt like it was fitting to talk about this topic during a solo date vlog because so many of us as women, whether, you know, you agree with it or not, or if you are one of these women or not, a lot of our identities are wrapped into men and like the situations, the relationships. It kind of like our lives sometimes revolve around it. There's this whole discussion about decentering men on social media right now, which I definitely can say I agree with, specifically because as women, we have to remember that our lives do matter. We're people just as much as men are, and everything about us and our being should not revolve around that. And now I'm speaking from experience right now because there are situations that I have been in that have been not favorable for me, and getting married and all that has been a big thing for me in my life. And there's so many like lessons I've learned along the way that had I known this when I was 24, 25 years old before getting into my most recent 2 serious relationships, things would have been different and I would have been better. I would have been a better woman. I would have had more focus on me. I would not have, you know, just made some very questionable decisions. That in the end was only a benefit for the other person and not for myself. I say all that to say that we're gonna be talking about 10 things that I have learned from experience that I wish I would have known when I started dating, like as a grown woman. I feel like it's so important for us to know how to navigate these situations and these relationships so that we don't lose ourselves in the process and then become a reflection of just that man. And there's nothing to show for us, or we no longer represent ourselves anymore because we made these crazy decisions. So before we get into this, y'all, I want to get this hair together. I want to flat iron it before we get too deep. Y'all know it's only certain things I can do when I'm talking and really into a topic. We're about to straighten this hair. I am using the hair oil from Way. Thank you to Way for sponsoring today's video. And y'all, I love this stuff. This has been helping me to truly like, come on, focus. This has really been helping me to truly like sleek out my hair when it comes to like really making it nice and straight and everything. Way, the brand, it's a hair care brand. They also have products for the body, so like body wash, fragrances, all of that. And I love that the brand focuses on what we want versus telling us what we need as a brand. So today, I kind of just woke up. This is what my hair looked like when I got it out the bonnet. And I really just want to like flat iron my, you know, leave out and make it blend a little bit more and really slick the hair out. I'm going for like a side part, super straight and sleek look today. I feel like the Way hair oil helps me, especially when I'm trying to get like a really quick routine going, regardless of whatever kind of hair day I'm having, child. We just got to get it together. One thing I love about the hair oil is it does smooth frizz and it helps to seal my split ends as well. I've been putting a lot of heat on my hair recently and it protects my hair from heat. So we love that. Also, in case you guys don't know, I did just dye my hair black. This oil does help to keep the color in my hair from fading. Last time I used this and I did it on the vlog, y'all was like, oh my God, your hair definitely looked like you just went to the salon, sis. And I'm telling y'all, it's this oil. Something about it just helps to rejuvenate the hair. and makes it healthier and more vibrant, and it smells amazing. I love that Ouai's products, even just the hair care products, have this super feminine fragrance, y'all. Super feminine fragrance. And who don't want to like pass by somebody and they get a little whiff of your hair and they be like, oh. The last time I refreshed my sew-in, I of course used the hair oil to really like, you know, go in with my finishing touches, but I also used their detox shampoo as well as their leave-in conditioner, because those products also help to get my hair looking the way it did that time. But I am always in need of a good like hair and scalp cleanse, so that detox shampoo was a must for me last time I refreshed my hair. Ouai's products also cater to a lot of different hair types as well. So whether your hair is fine, medium, or thick hair, they definitely have a product perfect for you. And in case you don't actually know what your hair type is, they do have a hair quiz so that you can figure that out for yourself, and they can like pair you with what products will be best for your hair type. All right, y'all, so the hair is nice and sleek. I feel like this is the perfect thing for like a quick little finishing touch, just a quick little routine to get your life together. So I want you guys to get your fast fix for healthy looking hair. Go to THEOUAI.com/MayaGalore to get 15% off of your entire purchase. All right, so that is THEOUAI.com/MayaGalore to get 15% off your whole order. All right, y'all, so let's get into these things that I have learned that I really truly wish I didn't have to learn the hard way, but it is what it is, y'all. Number one is to stand on business. Okay, for me this means get some standards and then stand on those standards and those boundaries. I've learned the hard way that when we do not do this, we get into situations that quite literally are the opposite of what it is that we said that we wanted. The standards that a woman creates for herself and then stands on it, like there's no conversation. We're not gonna talk about it. These are my standards, period. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. There's no compromising on it. None of that rationalizing. It is what it is. I feel like as women, when we do that, it really creates the dynamic of the relationship. In my life, I've only been in 3 adult relationships, like as an adult woman. And in, I would say all 3 of them, I have been the woman who had standards, had boundaries, had things that I know I wanted for myself, for my life, whatever the case may be. But I had a big issue standing on them, either from fear of them leaving or being upset, or it just creating an issue to the point where the situation can be no more. In the past, I have allowed that to be a thing in the relationship. And then what happens? I end up being with this person and being extremely unhappy because the truth is the truth. And it will never go away, regardless of what you lie to yourself and say. I realized it doesn't matter what I was lying to myself and saying. Like, I did not stand on my boundaries, and now I'm dealing with the repercussions of that because he now thinks that's okay. I do truly believe that we teach people how to treat us based on what we allow or don't allow to happen or to transpire in the relationship. I now truly believe that in order to weed out the wannabes and the guys that really just want, you know, them to have all the benefits, you have to learn how to stand on what you have set for yourself. I have been so afraid to do this in the past. So now where I am today, y'all, I could care less. Like, I could care so much less about if a man leaves or if he makes a huge deal because I'm standing on a boundary. Like, he can leave. I don't care now. I don't care about saving your feelings or making you feel better. Because honestly, if you leave as a result of that, I just avoided a life of me denying my truth for the sake of your happiness, which means you're having a wonderful life, but I'm constantly like unhappy and not getting what I truly want out of this situation because I am thinking too much about you and not enough about myself and my own happiness. The next thing that I would say I've learned is not to date potential. So this one, y'all, I feel like is heavy on how old you are, because when you're like in high school, you know, you're a younger girl, you're 18 to 20, whatever. Dating for potential is like what you have to do because you're a kid, right? However, when you get to a certain age, and especially if you have already reached certain goals about yourself, certain things that you wanted to do in your life, by no means will I be out here dating potential anymore. Like, you gotta low-key be there a little bit the same way I'm there. And the age threshold I would put on this is, I'm gonna say age 30. And this is from my experience, so, you know, to each their own. However, I feel like the man doesn't necessarily have to be completely like done a millionaire, you know, or making his 6 figures, you know. He could be on the way there, but you have to have some type of accomplishment about yourself, or something that you have reached that you're proud of, that you're going in the right direction, versus you just kind of struggling and being like, well, you know, I'm not there yet, but I'm gonna be there one day, when you don't see no signs of this person getting there one day, because what they're doing right now is not reflecting that. I have 100% been that girl that's like, oh, it's okay, you know, everyone deserves a chance, everyone deserves love. Once upon a time, I didn't have anything, and I was, you know, down and out and trying to figure it out. You know, it's okay if you're like that, even though I have, you know, achieved certain levels of success, or I have gotten to a place where I'm happy with my income and my life and my accomplishments. And that really got me into a situation that was not good for me. Because what we have to realize, I personally believe as women, is that men are supposed to be the providers. You know, God made it that way. That's the way he designed it, and that's the way it should be. So now I go by the advice that if a man is unable to completely take over my lifestyle, like if I was to not work anymore, something happened to me and I can't work, if this man that you're meeting or dating cannot completely take care of that lifestyle that you've created for yourself, if you weren't to make another dime, then I will not be giving you any of my time, sir. That is what I live off of now, only because I have experienced the opposite of that, and it was the opposite of fun. It was not a good situation at all. But I was hung up on the potential that I felt like I saw. And this brings me to the next point, which is not hanging on words. Don't hang on words, hang on the actions that you see. What's so crazy is I've always been like a words of affirmation girl. So like when people would ask me, what is your love language? Always words of affirmation, words of affirmation, words of affirmation. I know that I have an issue because I don't feel like I was affirmed as a little girl. I, you know, long for that daddy-daughter relationship, did not have it, and, you know, never got the man telling me how beautiful I was, and, you know, all of these things. So as a woman, I grew up feeling like I needed to verbally hear you tell me these things, though there's nothing wrong with that. For me as a woman, being so hung up on that, it has gotten me into some sticky situations because I'm so hung up on words sometimes that I forget to pay attention to the actions even more than that. So even though I feel like I am still a words of affirmations girly, I am heavy on the actions now as well. Or even probably even more so, just because I've experienced where the words can be really great. They can make you feel really good in the moment and all of those things. But if the action is not lining up with the words that you're telling me, especially over time, and I'm giving you the chances, I'm, you know, trying to pay attention to how you move and all these things, and you're not showing me, if I'm not paying attention to that, I'm finna get dragged through the ringer. And I don't want that for my life. So the thing about these 2 tips, you know, the whole not going for potential, but then also paying attention to actions versus words, it's all about what is being shown to me now versus what is being said. At the end of the day, words are wonderful, but if there's no action to back that up, it really means absolutely absolutely nothing. And now you're being strung along trying to believe these words. Sometimes a man is, a man of his word, and that's a blessing. Something else you'll learn from just paying attention, but sometimes they're not. And they'll just keep saying things in order to get what they want, especially if they already know that this is something you want and or need. So that brings me to my next point. I've learned not to tell men what it is that I am looking for, like in a relationship. This is like one of the number one things that is asked on like first date. What are you looking for in a man? What are you looking for in a relationship? But it took me through, like, before my ex-husband, I was dating for a couple of years. It took me through that period to stop answering that question, because I learned that men will start to try to become what you're saying you're looking for just to get you, or to get whatever out of you that they want out of you. So for example, there was this one guy that I was talking to in my dating era, my last one. And I was talking to this guy and he asked me, what are you looking for in a man, right? And I went down my list. I'm looking for someone who has this type of mindset, is this type of person, does these types of things. And lo and behold, over the next couple weeks, I received a lot of the things I told him that day. Mostly like in his personality or how he was acting. And in the moment, I'm like, you know what? This might be a little something, this might be something. You know what I'm saying? But totally not remembering that I low-key, high-key gave him the playbook that one day. It took me a while talking to the guy, not too long. It was about a month, 6 weeks, something like that, where I realized he was starting to show his true colors of who he actually was. Like who he actually was starting to come through. And I was like, oh, well, what happened to this or what happened to that? Didn't say that to him, but it started to click to me. Now, by that time, we'd had sex and everything. I was celibate at the time, but that was one of the times that I fell short of the glory of God. Unfortunately. But just to be honest, that is what he ended up getting. And after that, he kind of went back to who he was, and was very different from what he was showing me after we were having that conversation. I say that to say, the last thing you want to do is tell a man all your stuff. Like, I feel like you can say stuff like, I want someone who's respectful, because that's relative. I feel like a man can take that and figure out for him what that actually means. It's not as specific as I want someone who's gonna buy me this type of bag or buy me flowers every week. It's more something he has to think about. You know what I'm saying? To be, because everybody don't know how to be respectful, or in what situations I'm talking about. Am I talking about you respecting me, respecting other people, respecting your parents, respecting your friends? Like that kind of stuff, I don't mind saying, but very specific things, no, because you're giving them the playbook and the rule book of how to get you, especially how to get you to be very vulnerable and accept things that maybe you don't want to accept, or do things that you probably don't want to do. Also, it could waste your time. Heavy on that point. And baby, who is trying to waste time, especially if you are a marriage-minded woman and you are over the age of 30? Baby, we ain't got no time to waste. The next very hard lesson that I had to learn is not to try to convince a man or teach a man how to treat you better. That job was for whoever raised this man, okay? I've learned that as a woman, as a grown woman, I'm 34 years old, already got one marriage under my belt, unfortunately, and definitely have some choice experiences under my belt as well. But never again will I ever sit around and try to convince a man or teach him what he's supposed to do with me. A friend of mine right now is having this kind of situation where this guy was really great. They have a great connection and a great relationship, all of that. But it's still early, maybe like 3 months into the situation, and suddenly he doesn't have very good communication issues. They actually had a really big issue happen and he ghosted. Not really ghosted, but just couldn't talk about anything or kind of just wasn't there for her and all of these things. But there's this urge to just stick around and call him and figure out what's going on. I haven't talked to him in 2 weeks. Let me call him and see what's going on. I see this wonderful thing about him. There's no way that we can have this kind of connection, but he's treating me like this. I just want to give it a chance. I just want to see. Like, he's got to know this is not okay, and maybe if he fixes it. No. I'm also very sensitive to this kind of stuff right now just because of the marriage that I just got out of. A lot of lessons for me are just very fresh. So I'm in that space of like, nope, not dealing with this. Nope, not dealing with that. Nope, never again. Like, because I have had such a heavy experience recently that put me in a space that I don't ever want to be in again. So I honestly feel as though teaching a man what he should do with you, how he should be treating you, is no longer acceptable. If we are dealing with a man who is well into his 30s or 40s or 50s, because obviously sometimes age don't even matter. If we are dealing with that kind of man and he does not know how to treat a woman, that ain't got nothing to do with us. That, for me personally, I feel like that has absolutely nothing to do with me now. Like, that's not my business. So I'm going to remove myself from the situation because you are not meeting the standard that I have for myself of how I want my man to treat me. I'm not going to teach you anything because at this point, especially if you that old, you have already been set in your ways. Your response to something will be like, oh, I'm just not that person. That's not who I am. I don't do that like other men, or this is just what it is and you're supposed to take it. And then a lot of them will try to come at you and be like, well, that's a crazy way of thinking. If you don't deal with this, you're never going to find somebody who ... No, you very much will. He's just a grown man that has gotten to the point where he doesn't know how to treat a woman. Like, I'm not teaching you that, because also for me and my experience, when I've had to start to teach a man these things, it becomes a situation where they already, it's like a rule book thing that we just talked about. They know that this is the way to get to you, or that you won't leave if they do this, even though it's not even really who they are. If you are not demonstrating actions that show that you value me, I'm going to exit left. Because what I'm not gonna do is waste years of my life trying to see the bright side or see what's good about you or trying to understand why you treat me this way. No, this is how you treat women. You say you like me a whole lot, but your actions don't really show it in my book. So I'm gonna go and find someone who does show it in my book. The next lesson that I have learned is to not make a man my everything. I come across so many women, like friends throughout the years, and people who have shared stories with me of times when they have gotten a man and literally made him everything in their life. Like, if the weekend come around, you just know you're gonna be with your man the whole weekend. If you have a free weekend, you know you're gonna be with your man that night. And you just give him all of your availability, which means that your entire life revolves around this man, what he's doing, what he's not doing, what he has time to do with you. And that is so incredibly unhealthy. And this is not one that I can say that I've had personal experience with. I've more been on the outside looking in of other women who have shared stories with me of making a man your absolute everything. When I've seen this happen, I feel like it always ends bad, because when, you know, or if, but when these situations that I'm talking about ended, these women were so much more devastated than other women who had their own life, their own hobbies, their friends, their family, and really balanced their time with their relationship versus these other women. They would be so much more devastated and literally feel like they can't move and or breathe because this man is gone. Not that we should be having our own lives and our own, you know, hobbies and friends and family just in case the man leaves. That's not the point. Yes, it can and will make the situation better if you were to break up. However, it also just makes you more of an interesting person. Like, as women, we are interesting. because of our experiences, things that we do, the things that we've learned, what we're interested in, the fact that we have a life outside of a man. Not only should a man not want a super clingy woman, but this is heavy not about what a man wants. This conversation is about how we can protect ourselves while getting in these situations. So being extremely intentional about not giving a man all of your time and having a life of your own is a form of protection for yourself in that relationship. Because by no means should we feel like we're frozen in time and can't operate if a man leaves us. And sometimes, from what I've seen, that is an easy way for that to happen when we make him our end all be all in our lives. From my experience, you can show a man that you prioritize him in the relationship without him having control over every aspect of your life, or you making yourself completely open and free for him to his beck and call. Like I said, everything that I'm talking about in this video, guys, the purpose of it is for our protection as women. And God, I'm telling you, if I was 24, 25, and I knew these things, or I heard this type of advice, it would really help to save me from so much. I'm telling you, especially considering that so many women, myself included, not anymore, but I was this way. We really hang on to this whole timeline thing. Social media has not made it any better to make us feel like once we hit 35, that's it for us and nobody wants us. Though that's so far from the truth, a lot of us get wrapped into these mindsets. And regardless of if we hang on those ideals or not, none of us want to waste time. And I believe that had I known some of these things and really stood on them, I would not have wasted so much time in situations that I honestly should not have been in. So if you really honestly and truly care about any type of timeline when it comes to this stuff, and you're under the age of 30, baby, take my advice. Don't be like me. Don't be the one that gotta learn the hard way, baby. Just don't do it. So we did like this really pretty like fall makeup look. I'm gonna zoom in so y'all can see it. And brush out my lashes. I'm 1 week in and they're starting to like go in different directions and stuff. So I'm gonna brush those out, but this is the makeup look. Get like some fall colors. It's like an orange color. Look at me going outside my comfort zone. But yeah, I had an idea for this look and I feel like it looks really, really pretty for like a fall day, night out. So we are about to go ahead and relocate into my bedroom, y'all. We're gonna get dressed. This was supposed to be a solo lunch, but I kind of ran out of time. I've been kind of chilling today. I was on the phone with my sister for an hour and I was on the phone with my mom for like 40 minutes. So it's fine. But it is turning into a dinner situation because I kind of ran out of time. So we are about to put on some clothes for a cute little solo dinner instead of lunch. So now that this is dinner, guys, I changed the outfit that I was gonna wear a little bit. I'm wearing the same top, but I changed the jacket and everything. So it's just a different vibe. I'm gonna wear these two pieces, which are from Zara. It is fall here in Atlanta, but it don't be nobody wanna do. It's low key, feels great outside. So I have this crop top right here, which is from Zara, and it's got like a little sweetheart neckline, and then these pants, which are also from Zara, they kind of stop below the knee. And then we're gonna wear this Rebecca Minkoff faux leather trench over it, so it's gonna give some grown and sexy vibes, right? So I had another thing I wanted to mention that was not originally on my list, but I think is important for us women to be intentional about, and that is dressing to attract the kind of man that you want. I feel like there's a certain type of man that we obviously want as women. Y'all see the pants? Cute. And physically, there is a kind of man that we will repel. You know what I'm saying? Especially if we feel like he doesn't match how we look or how we're presenting ourselves. But for women, and I'm speaking for myself and some people that I know, sometimes we tend to not put enough focus on the fact that we want to be who that person wants as well. You know what I'm saying? So what kind of woman will that person be attracted to? But, you know, not to the point of changing who you are, but as far as the vibe. You know what I'm saying? This top is sleeveless, but I think I'm going to wear my bra with a strap just because I don't plan on taking off the jacket. So hopefully I'll be good. Let me see how this looks. Look, I might have to do one that's not so, yeah, because I feel like you can see that too much. Hold on. I was desperately trying to get around wearing a strapless bra, but we're just gonna do it. But I do feel like the way that we dress and how we present ourselves will attract a certain type of man, but not always. Some of the crazy ones will most definitely still come after you regardless. And not necessarily crazy, I mean like the ones with the characteristics that we don't necessarily find attractive or want for our life. That's what I'm trying to say. But this is the outfit, crop top, pants. I'm probably gonna put on white. I'm trying to think, do I want to do white or black shoes? I might go ahead and do black, honestly. I think is super cute, you know? Definitely, I think I'm gonna go with black shoes. So I think that'll be the best to complete this look. You know, especially since it's dinner time, I feel like white shoes scream more brunch or lunchtime, and black will scream more we're going to dinner. More than likely, I'll just wear my Bottegas. I think tonight I want to wear my Billie Eilish #2 fragrance. This smells really, really good, and I feel like it's perfect for like a little date night out. I think I want to put on these Dior pearl studs. So I think that would be really cute with this, just to kind of complete the look and continue the vibe we're going for. Yeah, I think I like those a whole lot. I think I'm going to finish off the look with my YSL wallet on chain. It's leather, you know, so it matches the leather vibe of the jacket. So yeah, y'all, this is the full outfit. This is how we're looking. Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you guys in the car.
Making you wait is so erotic. Perks, and I want you to want me, yeah. I want you to crave me as tension is building, yeah, and driving us crazy.
So I just got done dropping off my daughter, so we're just gonna keep it rolling with the points before we get to dinner. So the next thing that I feel like I've learned that I wish I would have known was to take time alone, both in and out of a relationship. Out of a relationship, meaning like, don't feel like I have to be with a man all of the time, like constantly, because I feel like for women this becomes a thing for us, because some of us have issues like being lonely or just being by ourselves and spending time alone. I was literally just talking to someone who has this issue, and I've dealt with this before as well, where regardless of the red flags, regardless of what he is offering or not offering, I don't want to be lonely on a Saturday night. I don't want to have months where it's just me and I don't have anyone to talk to say good morning beautiful and all these things. So you jump from one situation to the next without having time for yourself in between to process, to figure out where you might have made mistakes or how you could have vetted wrong or made bad decisions to put yourself in the position that you're in. For me, taking time in between situations is important for that reason, but also because, especially thinking about one thing we talked about earlier as far as not making a man your everything, that makes it easier for that to happen. Your man or any man, it's easy for them to become your everything if you don't allow yourself to be in your own company, to spend time with yourself, to prioritize you and what you want and who you are in making yourself better. That's definitely a hard lesson that I've had to learn. But at this point in my life, I've learned it. Like right now, baby, could nobody wring my neck to put me in somebody's relationship right now. Because I personally know I'm not ready for it. Because there's things within myself that I'm trying to work on to be better for my next relationship, but most importantly for myself. But I also say spending time in the relationship alone, because that also ties to that point earlier that you don't want to make a man your everything. So making sure that you spend time by yourself within the relationship just to continue having your own life and doing your own thing. And I say the same thing for the man. He needs to do his own thing too. Like, I want you to have a life, baby. Please go hang out with your friends. Because if I have things to do, I don't want you just sitting around just waiting for me. I want us both to live, learn, and grow outside of each other so we can bring that back to the relationship. That's another thing that I have learned the hard way, but we learned it. That's all that matters. So next, I've learned to process my emotions and my issues prior to getting into a serious relationship. And a big thing for me why this matters is because I have found myself, especially in my marriage, making certain assumptions, saying certain things, making certain comparisons in the relationship based on trauma that I've been through, either with my father or past relationships or whatever. Not taking the time to really explore that for myself and to learn and grow from it made the situation a worse situation. It's super important to make sure we are processing trauma, things we've gone through, how things affect us, things that we could be doing subconsciously that affect the situation that we might not even be aware of. We don't figure that out without the help of the Lord and or therapy, preferably both, because it helps you to really look at you and not create problems where there are no problems. And that's super easy to do. And that's super easy to do when you don't know your issues or your trauma or how you could be contributing to the situation. Another thing that I feel like I've learned, y'all, is that silence is golden, okay, and priceless. Now this ain't in no like playing games type of lens, because I feel like there's a lot of people, especially on TikTok right now, talking about, you know, ways to attract a man or to get him to do what you want and just don't say nothing and be quiet, and they respond to that. Now, men do respond to silence, but that's not my point here. To that point though, in my experience, the men that I have dealt with, they feel like you're still invested and you're still kind of in the palm of their hand. If you're still talking, if you're screaming, if you're going back and forth with them, even if you are standing on business, like as long as you're still talking and going back and forth and arguing or whatever the case may be, they feel like they still have you. And when you go silent, if you really ain't got nothing else to say, like you're done, going silent definitely makes a statement. And I ain't gonna lie, I feel like that's the truth. Let me know in the comments if you agree. It makes the biggest statement, because now they know, oh wow, she's really not playing. There is no back and forth. My standards are my standards. I said it, now we're done. I'm not going back and forth with you. This is not a negotiation. And I feel like just going silent, saying what you need to say, and period, point blank, done, makes such a big and better statement than arguing and going back and forth with someone, especially when it's about our standard. Y'all know I say this all the time. I have to say stuff as disclaimers. I'm not trying to talk at y'all. Most of the time I'm talking about myself when I'm like, you. Talk about Maya. So, more on the point where I was trying to make is that I've learned that processing is very important. I've always been someone who has not had the best way of controlling my emotions. I'm a very emotional person. I get to screaming and I get the little loud, like, I'm working on that. I know that's an issue now. Controlling our emotions, I feel like, is very, very, very important. Not just to relationships, forget that, for ourselves. Because we're always going to have a situation where we're in our emotions, right? But I was not a person, even as early as when I got married last year, that prioritized that time to process, walking away from a heated moment to think about it, to process how I'm feeling. I was one of them people like, no, we finna talk right now. Like, we gonna have this conversation right now. We're gonna get this out. Like, I don't want no time to pass. And I realized in the last year how detrimental that can be, because situations can get so heated and so crazy. We all know that when we get heated and crazy, we say stuff we don't mean. It's so much better to walk away to preserve your own mental health. The whole point of this conversation, like I said, is for our protection. I want to protect myself and I want to preserve my own mental health. And saying nothing and taking the moment or some time, a couple days, a couple hours, whatever that looks like, is so important. And that's hard for me because, like I said, that's not something that I'm used to, and something that I really didn't think was necessary until it started to become such a huge problem for me in my marriage. Because my ex-husband was a type, he was like, no, I'm gonna step away, we're gonna take a second, I need a moment. And I was fighting that at first, but Over time, I learned, no, Maya, don't fight that. You actually need to take some time away as well. Because there's nothing like having that processing time, but then also being able to level your head and take the time to consider your perspective, their perspective. It's just such a protective type of thing that you can do for yourself when you learn to just take a second, sis. I'm sis. I'm who I'm talking to. I've noticed that when I talk to men, if I'm loud and I'm screaming and to the point where you can't even understand what I'm saying or what he's saying for that matter, neither one of us is hearing what the other person is saying. Like, it's going through deaf ears. Like, there's literally no progress able to be made because no one can literally hear anyone else. I've learned this the hard way, and I really wish that this was something that I knew beforehand. We are approaching our spot. It's about to get dark outside here in a moment, but we're approaching Atrium. Did I even tell you guys where we're going? We're going to Atrium. It is in Ponce City Market. So cute. I made a reservation for dinner for 1, and we're about to go and eat. I'm gonna hit the last couple of points though while we're at dinner. Okay, girl. The next thing that I learned was not to equate my worth with a man's actions. I can remember so many times where I was being mistreated or not treated the way I felt like I should have been. And my response was, don't you feel like I'm worth it? Don't you feel like I am deserving of more? Do you not think I'm worth more than that? I know I'm worth more than that. And while that's true, I used to see that as the man does not see my worth to be able to provide me the actions that I'm asking for. When the reality was, of course I'm worth it. That man just can't do it for whatever reason. Maybe something he's gone through, maybe his upbringing, maybe what he was taught or not taught, does not mean that I'm not worth that good treatment. In those situations, now I will accept that that's who you are, sir. That's your prerogative, but it doesn't mean I'm not worth it. I know what I'm worth, and it has nothing to do with what you're doing. I am just asking the wrong person for that action. And for that reason, now, once a man tells me who he is, baby, I am going to believe you. I believe exactly what you're showing me. You ain't got to convince me no more. I'm done. And I wanted to go ahead and throw this one in there because it's one of the most important, and that is allowing God to be the center of all of this. The closer we get to him, the easier it is for us to hear his voice, to tell us what to do, what not to do, who to date, who not to date, how to, move in that relationship to protect ourselves. And a lot of the lessons on this list, I feel like God has tried to teach me, and, I'm a little hard-headed, and I want those days to be over. I want to be so close to God that I know his voice, to know exactly what he's telling me to do and what direction to go. I'm still working on this for myself. For years, I feel like I've been a lukewarm Christian and didn't really have my full relationship with God on a personal level, and I'm working on that so that I can hear clearly from him about his will for my life in all areas, not just relationships. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.